Okay, I'm not going to bother pouring the parts out of the bag every time. Just know that if it's important to you, the bag is still there. I just don't want to put them in just to pour them back out, because I'm filming all of these back to back, which will become the reasons which will become apparent in a future recording session. So, without further ado, time lapse. Okay, and here we have the Blockbuster. And yes, I did name it after the defunct video chain. So, as you saw, a couple of stability issues during the build. But A, once it's done, and more importantly, B, once the pilot is in, all that's pretty much solved. It's just the pilot is very good at locking everything in place. So, yeah, this is inspired by those mechs that I forget the name of from Warhammer 40k a little bit. Mostly, I just wanted to build something with two canopies side by side, which the first build in this series did not have, you may have noticed. So, what can this thing do? Firstly, it's armed with some honkin' big guns. I also wanted to try and bring the engines closer together than they had been on the previous build. I'd say I accomplished that. Now, the thing about using two copies of this set is that sometimes it gives you two pairs of things. For example, sometimes it means you have a pair of things now, like the windscreen, sometimes two pairs. Like, for example, the engine pieces. But the interesting thing is that some parts end up with three pairs. Like, for example, the little pneumatic T-pieces they use in the hips. As there are three of them in the base set, which means that all of a sudden I can now use two for the hips and have four left over to use elsewhere on the build. Which, actually all three of the mechs from this series, well, three-ish of the mechs from this series make use of one way or another. Articulation is pretty much what you'd expect. You've got the slightly just do the sheer bulk of this thing. I wanted something that was just a big brick of fuck you, basically, and I'd say I accomplished that. This is honestly my second favourite mech build from the set as a whole, even beating the Bellicose and the Orbital Mechanic, which kind of says a lot, because I really like those two. So, and yeah, articulation is fairly standard. You've got pretty well enclosed pilot. Just conveniently enough, this just happens to fit flush with the curved pieces. I'm not sure it would do that if they weren't curved. Anyway, that about covers the Blockbuster then. Next week, we'll be on to the second vehicle. What was the next? Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah, so I'll see you next week for another vehicle build, and in the meantime, here is the instructions for this one.